Sir Christopher, and it's a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and I would like to congratulate my colleague, the Honourable Member for Blaydon, for leading on this debate today, but also Mr Ramanandi, who led on the creation of the petition, and all those who organised and signed the petition across the country. Now, Sir Christopher, this is the second debate on education that I've been in this room for this year. The first was on college funding, and the pattern is the same. Government party members wringing their hands about the impact of financial cuts on their constituencies. When will they realise that what they're saying is a direct impact from their failed austerity project? You cannot do more with less. And I concur with many points made by members already in this debate. So I'll focus on how the cuts in funding for schools have impacted in my own borough in Hounslow. I've seen firsthand the great work our schools are doing. 23 of our schools are rated outstanding by Ofsted. Our secondary schools perform above the UK average on Progress 8 scores, and our primary schools exceed the national average in reading, writing and maths. And ours is a community with the majority of children not speaking English as a first language at home, and very high levels of churn in our schools. Hounslow Council have also invested £177 million in capital funding for the expansion of primary, secondary and SEN schooling, but this is all happening despite the steep and unjust costs being cuts being imposed on our schools by this government. Now, as other members have talked about the experience of their constituencies, in Hounslow we've also seen a cut in total spending per pupil since 2010, and real terms cuts per pupil funding between 2015 and 2019. The local authority spending on services for schools, many of which schools, if those services still exist, schools are now having to buy back when before they had them for free, and yet their budgets, as we've heard so many times, are being cut. So the range of extracurricular and curricular activities being supported by the councils have gone down and down and down. This year, schools in Hounslow have lost teachers, teaching assistants, support staff, auxiliary staff, and the very essential additional support that particularly children in crisis and in trouble need. Now, in terms of some numbers, we've had an additional 5,640 additional places across the borough, primary and secondary places, a 51% increase in children with special needs and EHCPs since 2012. That's the third highest increase in London. We faced 27 million in funding cuts in 2018-19 and £4.5 million savings in education and early years provision. So that added up has a massive impact on the ability for our children to learn with good quality. And as with other speakers today, many schools, many teachers, many parents have raised the concern about those children with special needs.
For giving way. I'm sure she will accept that her experience in Hounslow is mirrored in other parts of London too, including in my own constituency in Harrow. And I'm sure she would want to acknowledge the head teacher of an outstanding special needs school in my constituency, who wrote, knowing this debate was taking place today, to flag that in order to budget her budget going forward, she now faces the requirement to drastically reduce the staffing ratios in her own school.
My honourable friend is absolutely right, because it's both the numbers and the quality of staff at special needs school that makes such a difference to those children's outcome. But that's for the children who actually get into the special schools. Yes. I am hearing again and again from parents, teachers and governors about children who desperately need to get assessed, and even once assessed, they desperately need the right support, either in their mainstream school or in a special school, and they're not getting it. They're having to wait. Not because because there's a lack of will, but there's a lack of professional support, there's a lack of places, and we have an additional problem in London, a massive shortage in professional psychological and psychiatric support that CAMHS is suffering from. And of course, children with special needs that are not supported are not only suffering themselves and their future is impacting, but their behaviour, their troubles are impacting on the other children in the class, and that affects those children's learning as well. And it's unacceptable. I want to quickly say that I've been written to by head teachers and governors saying a number of things, including the inability to provide maintenance. We need to replace the air conditioning because, of course, in schools in Hounslow under the flight path, we can't open the windows in the summer. They can't replace an inclusion mentor, and children aren't getting the high-quality art and technology support because the technician has had to be cut. Thank you.